How does the current economic climate in South Africa affect investment opportunities in retail properties?
Well, I think that one of the problems we have in South Africa is that Stats SA, who give us all the figures that we're growing at less than 1% per annum in GDP, and that we have 38% unemployment, that is in the economy that Stats SA records. And there's a huge economy out there, the informal economy, which is not recorded. So taxis, ladies hairdressing in the suburbs, in the townships, black hairdressing, backroom rentals in the townships. All of these things are not recorded. Now, if you take that as a scenario, in our portfolio alone, which is countrywide, we have turnover growth of all of our tenants combined of about 13% per annum. Now, how can that be the case if we are growing at only 1% per annum? Stats SA's figures are totally and utterly, they do not reflect the real economy. So I personally believe that the economy is growing probably 3%, maybe 4% at the moment. But if business was allowed to get on to its own, in other words, the government didn't get in the way of business, we could be growing at another 3 or 4% on top of that easily. Business itself, general business in South Africa, is doing very well at the moment, but it's not being recorded.
Yeah, I'd add a couple of things. I think, in my view, for a country and business to be successful, there are a few key elements that you need to consider and need to have in place. The first is political stability. Well, we don't really have that in this country at this point in time. The second is a sound banking system. Fortunately, we have a good independent central bank, and we have, I think, a very sophisticated banking system. I think it's more sophisticated than a great number of those in the other parts of the world that I've visited. And thirdly, we need some degree of moral compass, which sadly is missing. And I think that's the key. So in my view, what that's done is it's created a two-tiered economy. You've got a public sector-driven economy, which is really government. And, we all know the difficulties with that, with over-regulation and one thing and another. And then we've got the private sector. And I think if you look at the private sector and you see the, I suppose, demise is too strong a word, but if you see how the stock exchange has actually shrunk, less companies listed now than ever before. I think you've got a very different business climate now. And I think the real energy is happening at a very high level in the private sector, where people are getting on, not worrying about listing. They don't want to be stripped naked every day and in the context of a public company, and getting on and doing really good business. And I think if we can get the merging more of some of the key issues of government, of stability, and getting a bit more moral fibre, I think there's huge potential still in this country. But we do need to get some of those ticked off.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say. I watched a Singapore politician from the early days when they decided they needed to turn Singapore from what was poverty-stricken country into what it is today. And he said they had 3 principles: meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty. You employ based on merit. You're pragmatic in your approach, so you're not fixed on one ideal. You accept ideals, accept things that work from many different ideologies, and you're honest. And how they started with the honesty was that they would fire from the top. So if a minister would go on paid safari with somebody that's buying into government, that the Prime Minister would basically fire that minister on the spot, put him through a trial process and put him in jail. And that's what made everything work so much further down the line. But we're not quite there yet in South Africa.
They say the fish rots from the head, and it's totally correct. I mean, the bottom line is we have a culture of corruption now, which has probably been accentuated by CADA, or they call it CADA, cadre deployment. And, until that is stopped and we have people there on merit, we're going to continue having these people with their hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, Okay, so back onto retail property.
Yes, that's where we are.
Just if I could just come in quickly, I think when you introduced the discussion, you spoke about us. I would just like to put emphasis on the us. This business is a very diverse business, and it's intricate, and I don't think any one individual can do it on his own. And I think that's where Peter and I have had the fortunate situation of being able to work together, because we have different skills, and we have robust debate, some disagreements, but you've got to recognize that helps to. It's almost like a cake mix, and we've been very fortunate in having a set of ingredients that have worked. I mean, it's been over a long period, and it's a very valued relationship and very valued position. So
I think that if in Flanagan Gerard Group team members can see the different skills and how they complement each other, and are very thankful for the ability to have the mentorship that goes on with both Pat Flanagan and Peter Gerard. So I think you should keep doing what you're doing. But
in other words, not spending too much time in the office.
Keep giving us guidance and making sure we're on the right track. That's it.